Members of the committee, can you hear me?
Yes. Oh, you know, move it up just a tad, you know, and there we go. Awesome.
All right, how about now?
That's much better.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me this time to speak. My name is A.J. Jacobs. I'm an Arizona native. I'm a registered Republican and a state committeeman. I'm a military veteran. I'm a former EMT, a former Arizona state trooper. I'm the husband to a healthcare worker, and most importantly, I'm the father to 3 boys, 2 of which have special needs. I'm here today to talk about one provision in this bill, SB 1466, and why it must be passed. That provision is allowing autism to be listed as a qualifying condition for medical marijuana. This is not about drugging our children or making them more manageable. There are plenty of pharmaceuticals that doctors are more than happy to prescribe by the handful that could do that. This is about improving their quality of life as well as the family's quality of life and the right to try a natural plant-based medicine responsibly. After having suffered a significant back injury myself personally, while I was previously in law enforcement, I myself am a medical marijuana patient and have experienced the mental and physical benefits of responsible cannabis use. There is no known cause or cure for autism. Pharmaceuticals that are prescribed for autistic children are prescribed off-label in hopes of treating the symptoms of autism. Many of these pharmaceuticals have horrific neurological side effects, and many have a black box warning of death. Cannabis has none of these things. The benefits of cannabis are significantly more than just THC and CBD. Regarding my child, my 9-year-old, I cannot even try full spectrum CBD on him as it contains trace amounts of THC, as we just discussed, which could trigger an investigation by the Department of Child Services. Yet narcotics and psychological medications that could kill him are completely acceptable to the medical community, which makes 0 sense to me. The trace amounts of THC in some products would not get him high, but would have an entourage effect, giving a person, my son, the most benefits from the use of medical marijuana. Understanding that autism is a nervous system irregularity dysfunction, the benefits of cannabis on the endocannabinoid system have scientific evidence in regulating the nervous system. But it is possible that higher levels of THC would be needed for the most severe cases. My son, Logan, who is 9 years old, has ADHD and has been diagnosed as level 3 autism, which is the most severe according to the DSM-5. As of this point, he will never leave my home and will never live an independent life. He suffers from extreme anxiety, emotional irregularity, and the older he gets, the more violent he becomes, as that is a direct reflection of the emotional irregularity. However, the potential to help regulate his nervous system naturally could lead to a better quality of life and possibly some form of independence for him. I'm not here to show any evidence that anything will be cured. All I'm asking for is the right to try an all-natural plant medicine that has never killed anybody by consumption alone. Nobody wants our children drugged up and suppressed. We just want the right to try an alternative medicine to live their best lives. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much. Very compelling testimony. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You bet. Senator Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sir, it's a difficult situation, family member in the same situation. But what I didn't realize is that you don't have the right to try at this point.
Mr. Chair.
Please.
Senator Champ. At this moment, the only diagnosis that my 9-year-old child has is autism, and again with the ADHD. He doesn't have epilepsy, which is a qualifying condition. He doesn't have any other conditions that are able to allow us the right to try. If I were to try THC on him at any level, he falls down, bumps his head, I have to run him to the emergency room, and he gets drug tested, I get investigated by Department of Child Services. And like I said, I'm a former police officer. I dealt with child crimes. I've dealt with this type of stuff in my past. It's not even possible to try a plant-based medicine.
Mr. Chair. And the research is there showing that it helps.
Mr. Chair. Senator, the research is so lacking, but one of the next speakers does have a huge amount of data. My information is anecdotal. My information is from those who have children who have other symptoms that allow them to get a medical marijuana card that have gone through the process for the epilepsy and all that, and I've seen the benefits personally in those children, in those families. So my information on that is strictly anecdotal.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Watzak.
Thank you, sir.
I actually have a child with epilepsy. She also is, she has autism as well. And we had read study after study, she's nonverbal, at all these studies saying that medical marijuana would help bring her out of some of these things. And people were actually moving to Colorado 10 years ago so they could let their children under 18 have access to the non-THC CBDs that were pulling these children out of some of these. And they also, my son is type 1 diabetic, and it's known to lower blood sugars. It's known to keep your blood sugars stable and to stop seizures. She has seizure disorder. So I have children that have had a need for this, but in the state of Arizona, I was always told by doctors, you know, I'd love to take her off that big pharma medication that's actually killing her liver right now and put her onto these you know, treatments, but we can't because it's against the law. And so it's been about 10 years that I've heard those words. So this bill, I'm actually very thankful, Senator Shope, for you running this bill, because it's time. It's time we start looking at the facts, and there is medical proof that these things do work. So I just wanted to back your story up, since you said you didn't have a whole lot of, I have it. I've seen it myself.
Sure.
She's one of your biggest fans here.
Good to hear.
I'm right behind her.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no, big pharma, grown out of the ground.
I think that one of the things, I know Senator Watzak and I talked about it when we visited prior to, is that, look, I mean, obviously, and we've even had this conversation on different types of care, period, right? What happens, or whether it's education, different types of schooling, you know, things like that. All of this is, in all of the above approach, is I think the opportunity to be afforded to people is so important and key here.
Agreed, sir.
All right, next up.
Thank you.
Oh, Senator Burrell.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, sir. You said you were a police officer at one time?
Mr. Chair.
Please.
Yes, sir, I was.
Where did you serve at?
Arizona Department of Public Safety.
Oh, okay. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, sir, I forget your last name.
Jacobs.
Jacobs. Mr. Jacobs, just out of your experience as a law enforcement officer, did you have to wrestle a drunk in a car? Get a drunk into a car?
Mr. Chair.
Sir.
I apologize, sir. Did I have to arrest
Did you have to wrestle around with a bunch of drunks to get them into a car?
every night?
Okay. Mr. Chair, Mr. Jacobs, did you have to do the same level of force with somebody that was high on marijuana?
Mr. Chair. Senator Borelli, I worked patrol for 9 years, where I was actually out on the streets making arrests. The last 2 years I was a detective. The number of times that I had to fight with somebody who was high on marijuana, medicated under marijuana, was exactly 0.000. So.
Fair enough.
And to that point,
Mr. Chair, Mr. Jacobs, so in your professional opinion, these guys just voluntarily just got in the car. It's like, yeah, no problem.
Mr. Chair.
Please.
Senator Borelli, it would help if we would put a bag of Funyuns in the back, but yes. To answer the question, sir, it was always an amicable experience with anybody who was high on marijuana when they were being arrested for whatever.
yeah,
I had another question, but I forgot it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I've actually spoken with some.
Can you save Senator Burley, please?
One of right, we all do. I've spoken with some people in the emergency rooms who have told me that they have repeated people coming in for drunk driving, for domestic violence, and none of them have ever been on marijuana. They've always been involving alcohol. So I think that there's something to this. I also have a lot of people who have called me who are veterans and people with PTSD. This is a very real issue, and to finally have the ability for people to have this at their fingertips on a medical standpoint with the higher dosage is key to saving people's lives. It's the difference of depression and not being depressed, and that's all.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.